Good evening. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get something out there. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the prettiest thing ever. But I wanted to get some information to you, and we're going to break it down into little bits. And I want to talk about differentiated instruction. I think there's so many things that make people cringe when you talk about differentiated instruction. First of all, I think we have some misconceptions about it. It's true that differentiated instruction, one way to think about it, and the way I first thought about it when I was teaching was, oh, I differentiate my instruction. I use kinesthetic teaching. I make sure I hit my auditory learners, my kinesthetic learners, my visual learners. I get all those guys, and I do different things for each one of them so that each one of them feels like they can access the learning. I differentiate my instruction. Well, that's one way to think about differentiated instruction, but I don't think it's the most powerful way to think about differentiated instruction. So let me start with a question. Do you believe that everybody learns at the same speed? Does everybody learn at the same rate of speed? If you answered no to that question, that you believe that everybody has a different rate of learning, I want you to think about the last time you taught something to a student, to a group of students, and ask yourself the question, did the fastest learner get less amount of teaching and the slowest learner get more, or did they all get the same? I would bet that in most classrooms, the fastest learner and the slowest learner all get the same amount of instruction. That's for most classrooms, and that's where I think we can do better. And that's why we differentiate instruction, because not all students need the same amount of time to learn the material. The same amount of time, the same materials, the same way they access the information can all be differentiated so that everybody is getting what they need, that all students are learning the best they can. So, the first thing that you need to do when you start talking about differentiated instruction is make sure that the students and your classroom understands that everybody gets what they need. They don't get the same. And here's one way you can do it. Pat Quinn illustrates it this way. He says he starts off the start of the year, every single year, by doing this very exercise. He lines up everybody in the classroom against a wall, and he says, everybody is going to take 4 steps to get to the door. Well, the students closest to the door, they're like, this is awesome. I'm going to get this. I get to the door in 4 steps. Boom, 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 boom. They're at the door. The students midway go, I think I can get to the door if I take really long steps. I'll get to the door and I'll get the assignment. I'll do what Mr. Quinn is asking me to do. The students furthest away from the door, it's impossible for them to reach the door. And they say, hey, Mr. Quinn, that's not fair. I'm furthest away from the door. And at that moment, he can start talking about why everybody gets something different. Because if you start your instruction and you start saying, well, some people are going to get this and some people are going to get that, you're going to have some students that say, why is this student getting more than what I get? And if they don't know from the get-go that every student gets the instruction that they need versus everybody gets the same instruction, then you're going to have trouble with fighting you're fighting the idea that instruction is differentiated or maximized in your classroom. Everybody gets what they need is the lesson that you need to teach. Another way that he teaches it is he gives everybody, and many of you have heard this before, you tell somebody that they have a headache. One person has a headache, one person has a broken arm, and one person has a sore throat. And you play doctor with them. And you say, well, the doctor's going to prescribe exactly the same prescription to everybody. So everybody who's got a sore throat gets a lozenge. Now the person with the broken arm and the headache are not getting what they need. Everybody gets what they need in instruction, and that's the key to differentiated instruction.